You guys have been hearing about our brand new series, Scale Stories, that just launched. Well, today we are going to meet our first contestant on Scale Stories, Natalie, and learn about her story and about what is in store for her brand new product launch. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Serious Sellers Podcast by Helium 10. I'm your host, Bradley Sutton, and this is the show that's a completely BS-free, unscripted, and unrehearsed, organic conversation about serious strategies for serious sellers of any level in the e-commerce world. And we have an aspiring serious seller here. She's planning to be a serious seller, and we're actually going to be watching her journey. She was our first I guess you can say contestant, participant in our brand new, just released last week, Scale Stories series here. So, Natalie, welcome to the show. How's it going?
Thank you. It's going really well. Just get more and more excited as the journey goes on, becoming a new seller, and can't wait to launch.
Where are you located?
I'm located outside of Columbus, Ohio. So we moved from Columbus, Ohio to more like country rural side over in Hocking Hills. It's a nice like scenic area, lots of outdoor activities that you can do when it's nice enough out.
Are you originally from Ohio?
Columbus. I was born in upstate New York, but raised in Columbus, Ohio in a suburb.
Did you ever go to college out there?
I went to OU Lancaster. So I went to a branch of Ohio University, and I went to the one in Pickerington just for a year. My college experience was never, I kind of failed both times. I made it 1 year for each attempts, and just decided I want to work full time and try to get as much business knowledge as I could just by hand by doing it.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, I actually didn't even get my degree until like 10 years after I graduated high school. I just went straight to working myself. Now, you've always been an aspiring entrepreneur, and we're going to get more into details in your story in our series. And by the way, guys, if you just want to go right to this new series, it's kind of like for those who have been with Helium 10 for a long time. We had something called Project X before, so it's almost as if this was like a season 2, but it's a completely different story, different series. So go to h10.me/SS, and that should take you to our first video in the series, which is, kind of like the way to meet Natalie. But we're going to do a little bit of that here, so we can get a little bit more of your story for those who might not have time to go to YouTube. But this is not your first kind of like aspiration to be an entrepreneur. So how long have you had this like entrepreneurial bug, would you say?
Well, I remember my first dream started with being a fashion designer. From the age of 4, I wanted to design clothes. I wanted to be successful with fashion. And then shortly after that, whenever I understood more about business, I guess I don't know what age it was, but I wanted to be have businesses with fashion and stuff. So have a brand, have a design line and whatnot. And then from there, it was more my late teens and 20s where I started filing LLCs and getting more into starting a business. But I've only had, besides Dorsey Delivered, my Amazon FBA business, I've only had one other business where I've made money from Dorsey Delivered yet, but I've only had one business out of the handful that I've registered that's made money, basically.
Okay. All right. And what attracted you to this kind of like way to sustain yourself as opposed to, working a 9 to 5 or going through some program to, become a nurse or any of the other million occupations out there that are what some might consider, more traditional?
Right, absolutely. So for me, it was more a matter of wanting to forge my own path and kind of be more what I saw as in control of my fate, my destiny when it came to career and the lifestyle I wanted to live. Now I do work a W-2 job now, so I'm not fully transitioned out of it, but it is something that I'm certainly—
It's not your aspiration. That's like not
Yes.
like your life
Yes.
goal. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So I'm definitely trying to get there, and I've never given up. It's something that I keep rebounding from and keep trying again. And I'm really hoping, I'm gunning for this Dorsey Delivered to be my way into entrepreneurship.
Okay. Now, how did you get in the Helium 10 ecosystem? Because you weren't selling on Amazon,
Yes.
but you obviously must have seen our casting call. So I'm just curious how you even got on your radar.
Yes. So I ended up purchasing a training program from a Amazon seller, and in that he was saying that you need to go to Helium 10 and you need to sign up for a subscription from them to go further in the program. And so I did that, and I started getting marketing emails. And one of the marketing emails I noticed, it said there was a casting call, and I was like, "What's this?" And I just looked at it. I don't know. I want to say it was like a weekend day or something. And I looked at it because I wasn't working at the time, and I was like, I'm going to jump on this right now. And then within like 2 minutes, I just recorded the video out back on the patio and submitted it.
All right. Now, wait, this wasn't Clarence's program, was it? The FBA
It
bro?
was not, but the funny
Okay.
thing is, Clarence is someone in the past year that I've reached out to. And I think at the time why I didn't go through with his program is because I didn't have that amount of money to set forth with it and to put towards Amazon FBA. But I told Clarence, I was like, I'm pretty sure that I reached out to you in your DMs about working with you or learning from you.
All right. Yeah. And it just worked out that he was one of the mentors on
Yeah.
our scale stories too. Completely, coincidental, but the Amazon world is small. And so,
I'm
okay.
learning
So,
that.
yep. Yep. And so you learned about this, like how we were doing a casting call. Basically, for those who don't know, who might not have heard my episode with Zoe last week, where what we did was we put out on our website like a casting call. We're like, hey, we're looking for somebody, who's not sold on Amazon or even necessarily online before, who's interested in us kind of like showing you the A to Z of it, but open enough to talk about your own story and be willing to share your journey with everybody, and that's not something that I think most people would do. A lot of people like to stay private. They don't want to be in front of the camera, but you were down to take this challenge. So like what inspired you to be like, because like I said, this is not something normal that normal people are like, oh yeah, sure, I'll go on TV in front of hundreds of thousands of people and talk about my struggles and my journey. So what inspired you to do that?
I don't know. It sounded really interesting, and I was like, let's see where this goes. I just kind of wanted to. I'm someone who, when I see an opportunity, I'll jump on it. I don't know where it's gonna land me, where I'm gonna end up, but I'll see where it goes, and we can go from there. Just kind of make it work, and it's turned out to be a great decision. And I can't, like I said, I can't wait till we launch and we go from there too.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so obviously you had no idea necessarily what to expect. You were going to be on camera and we were going to have a film crew. Was there any surprises like when you got there that first day of filming at the Helium 10 office? Like you thought it was bigger or smaller than you thought it was, or a little bit more intimidating and less intimidating? Full hair and makeup team and 17 cameras and stuff. Like what were some of your thoughts you were going through as you like before we even started filming?
Well, it was really interesting that the hair and makeup team like kept coming up to me and like fixing me and doing all this. They're like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna adjust this, just gonna get that. Let me get this. Let me fix your makeup." Like all these things, I felt like it just was an interesting experience. I would have to say the part that really blew me away about Helium 10 and the whole production team is the fact that when I don't know if you remember when I was telling my story at the beginning and I got really nervous. I was like, "Hey, everyone, like I need a minute." And then went to the production room and I was like, "I think I need to take my boots off, my heeled boots. I think I need to take these off." And just how everyone was so accommodating and like, "No, like take a minute here, go in here. Just take a few, you'll be fine." And everyone was just so kind. It was so great to work with everyone because they seem to really understand that like I don't do this. This is not something
Mhm.
that I do on a daily basis.
Yep.
It's new to me, but everyone was so accommodating and it was a blessing. It was such a nice thing.
Awesome. So you got especially nervous in the beginning, which is
Yes.
understandable. This is you're not a paid actress or anything. We
Yes.
didn't like hire Screen Actors Guild to come on here.
Right,
But
exactly.
that actually, that ties into a little bit of and that vulnerability you showed about you were talking, you're getting emotional about, talking about your story and especially the
Yes.
obstacles you face. And there's no, I mean, I'm not going to say there's no two people. A lot of people do share similar obstacles, but there's literally hundreds of thousands of different obstacles that
Right.
different people have when trying to, make money, when trying to start a business. And for some people, it's just money. For other people, it's, the country they live in, might not have the same opportunities as others. There's just a million out there, but your story, like very well could resonate with a number of people out there. So can you talk a little bit about what, like what were some of your struggles on why you haven't been able to successfully, like launch your entrepreneurial journey so far?
Absolutely, Bradley. I'd love to talk about that. Something, this topic is near and dear to my heart. It brings like tears to my eyes just thinking about it, but like tears of gratefulness that I'm here today to talk about it. So I've had at 15, I was diagnosed bipolar after a major depressive episode of just hard times. And for me, although I've been diagnosed, I'm 36 now. Though I've been diagnosed more than half my life, you still never know what a day can bring and what that may look like. So there's things that I've implemented to make my mental health better, and especially in the past few years. But before I say drinking or something like that, I would do that and maybe my health falls worse. So when it comes to starting a business, often I'd be in what's called a manic episode, which is like an elevated state of mental health. And I would be manic and I'd be like, let's start this business. And it just kind of like out of nowhere. And I like would file it and attempt it. But then I crash afterwards into a depressive episode and there's no way I can sustain that. And it wasn't a well thought out idea. So for me, it's been a struggle to be in a balanced state of mental health, and for a while, and for now, I've been in a balanced state of mental health for a few years, and this is now the right time to do it because it's easier. It's easier because I'm not going up and down. But my struggle in the past was definitely the fact that I wasn't paying as close enough attention to my mental health and taking care of it and realizing that, hey, maybe now this isn't the right time. Maybe I should wait until I have some stability under my belt, until I've bounced back from a depressive or a manic episode.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, again, that's pretty unique, but a lot of people out there, you're not the only one with those things. And so that's, I think, especially why it's good that you're willing to put yourself out there, because the people who can relate, to that, are definitely going to, be especially inspired. But the rest of you, maybe 97% of our audience that doesn't relate to, but still, I think it should be relatable because, like I said, everybody's got their own struggles and things that could stop somebody, and make it easy for somebody just to say, nah, I'm not going to do this. Like I don't have the circumstances because of X or Y. But hopefully they take inspiration from you. Like, no, I'm not letting this, stop me. I'm going to do whatever I have to get in front of a camera and open up to the world, and I'm going to get like, special help with doing it. I'll do it. And I think that attitude is important to have for anybody trying to be an entrepreneur. So thank you again for
Yeah.
that. Now we brought in a few mentors, and by the way, guys, next week, or actually this week, I think,
Yeah,
you guys will
tomorrow.
be able to get on a live Ask Me Anything. We're gonna talk. We're gonna do a podcast live where we interview your three mentors, who we brought in from different countries in the world, and who are going, who have helped countless sellers out there get started. All right, so if you guys want to participate in this live broadcast where you're going to be able to ask her mentors questions live, and Natalie, you can sign up too and maybe surprise your mentors live on the air. But everybody, go to h10.me/SSAMA1. All right, Scale Stories SSAMA. Ask Me Anything 1. And we'll do a live recording. It'll be a live podcast. We don't do that very often. We're going to do it this time. And the first part, I'll be, trying to like kind of like recap their experience from the mentor's point of view about Natalie and her episode. But then you guys will be able to ask any questions, if maybe you're starting off, or you want to ask some of the best practices or ask some questions about the episode, some behind the scenes stuff. You guys will be able to do that too. So again, h10.me/SSAMA1. one. And if you're just happening upon this episode like weeks or months from now, you'll be able to see the replay on this very podcast page as well. And so, anyways, going into that, we started off the episode, we got your backstory, and then the mentors started doing some research based on what was interesting to you. Like, and that's not always can we sell something that we're passionate about. Like I've given this story about I'm very passionate about sumo wrestling. I used to be a sumo wrestler myself. There's not much demand for in America for sumo wrestling related memorabilia or things of that nature, right? So it's not just because I'm passionate about something, I'm going to be successful selling it. No, you've got to have demand. But that being said, it's always best to be able to sell something that you are somewhat passionate about or could become passionate about. And so what we did in that episode was, as the mentors were getting some of your backstory and seeing some of the things you're passionate about, that was what they used to kind of like guide the data driven part of the of product research, using Helium 10 and stuff. And do you remember not the actual product? Well, you know what? We're not gonna spoil the product since not
Okay.
everybody has seen it yet. But some of the ones that didn't make it, like that they had found some products, I believe, that could have been potentials that we ended up not going with, but that were I think you had never even knew was a thing. Do you remember some of those?
There's one from Clarence. There's a
Uh-huh.
couple that I'm thinking of. Am I allowed to say that one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Those. Okay, so one was the cauldron. Do you remember
Yes.
that one?
Yes,
Yes,
the cauldron,
that
yep.
was
I was
interesting.
like, "Hey, I might wanna sell that because
That
that's kind of
would
like
be
a
good
witchy thing, like a
for
coffin shelf."
you.
That would go with one of my brands. And
Exactly,
do you
it
remember any of the
would.
other ones?
The other one was the tea kettle, the
Yeah.
assassins. That was
Oh, yeah,
one.
the assassins way, yeah, like
Yes,
stuff that none of
I
us,
still don't
including me, knew.
understand that. I don't get it.
I don't either, but man, we saw some Assassin's Tea cu set or whatever it was that's selling
Something.
like thousands and thousands of dollars a month.
Yes.
But yeah, like you said, you know what? I'm not sure this is a completely great fit for me. Plus, there were some other issues, like very breakable and
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yes.
So we went through this process, guys, where we saw some different products that seemed like in one aspect could be opportunity, but that's what product research is. It's not just like laser focusing on just one and only thing, but
Right.
find 4, 5, 10 different ideas and then validate it. And we played the scale or fail game to validate that. So you guys will
Yes.
have to watch the episode to actually see that. But anything about that part that was interesting to you about, the product research part and some of the ways that they found, these opportunities for you.
Well, about the products themselves that the mentors provided, it was interesting to see the different types of products that each mentor provided. One went more in line with what they currently sell and what their niche is. One went along with what more in line with the things that they thought that I could go with and have on my brand. And then the other was more just like what sells, what data points say is going to sell. So I thought that was very interesting when it came to that aspect of the whole picking the product and stuff, anyways, before we even did the scale or fail.
Yes, yes. And that's I think that's the part that people sometimes maybe overlook the importance of making data driven decisions and finding, it's not like, oh, let me just go to the bestsellers list on Amazon and see what works out.
Yes.
Now, what was the budget that we had originally, given for you and what we were going forward for your launch?
I want to say it was like 5,000, right? Wasn't it originally five?
Yeah. And then what happened though during the
And then
episode?
that got doubled.
Yes. So you've got a $10,000 budget, but again,
Yeah.
that's not a magic number, guys. I mean, like if the budget stayed at $5,000, we absolutely would have been able to launch a product. But we wanted to like do a little something for Natalie. So when we say the budget increase, it wasn't like we're like Natalie got to cough up another $5,000. No, actually, Helium 10 is covering
Yes.
all of this for the first one. She's gonna have to do reorders and stuff like that.
Yes.
But a lot of you already can have a $10,000 budget, and so you're going to be able to kind of like follow this blueprint. But guess what, guys? If you have a $5,000 budget, you can still launch products. I did this one case study years ago. I called it Project 5K, where I had $5,000 and I actually launched 12 products
Oh my
for less
gosh.
than $5,000 total. It was very cheap ones like straws and stuff like that. But still, I just wanted to prove that it was doable. I just launched 4 products myself on some of my Amazon accounts. Again, very similar to those where all in, it was probably like less than $5,000. So it still is possible
Wow.
um, to make money with less, but the ceiling is not as high. So when you do have a $10,000 budget, now we can target products that probably retail for about $40 or more, and then we can also have a little bit more profit margin. We haven't launched your product yet. It's in the process of being ordered, and this is going to be an ongoing process. We'll definitely reach out to you. But remember the plan? Are we only launching you on Amazon?
So TikTok is another one. TikTok, and then I was told by a person at Helium that possibly Walmart might be a thing, but I don't know about that, but that's just something that was possible. But TikTok Shop is the other main one.
Thinking about selling on TikTok Shop? Or maybe you are already in it and you're ready to scale. Unlock all of Helium 10's brand new TikTok Shop tools with our Diamond Plan. Everything from bulk Amazon to TikTok listing conversions to instant Amazon MCF fulfillment. Best of all, you use the code TT10 to get 10% off Diamond for 6 months, even if you've used a coupon before. So go ahead and upgrade and let Helium 10 do all the heavy lifting for you so you can focus on what really matters. For more info on our new TikTok Shop offerings, visit h10.me/TikTok. I'll see you there.
So TikTok Shop, possibly Walmart. That's how it is nowadays for e-commerce. Like when we did Project X as season 1, we only were launching on Amazon. And 6 years ago, that was all you needed. Nowadays, guys, if you're thinking about launching, it's not just about Amazon. You should be launching on TikTok at the same time. And I remember when we did some breakout episodes with you, like we got you approved, or not we got you approved, you got yourself approved like within like a day on TikTok. And so this is not something that's it's going to take like some month-long process to get approved on a platform. Hopefully not. In some cases there might be extra things that they might need. Right. But so that's going to be part of the plan as well. Any other things that you can talk about the experience of being on the show, or things that were interesting to you that you didn't know? It doesn't have to be all positive and rainbows and unicorns. Something that scared you, like, oh man, I didn't know this was involved in this. Anything at all you can talk about.
Well, that last part you just said about scaring you a little bit, I was thinking at first when you first said that there's nothing really that scared me in terms of the filming process and the process of being a seller on Amazon, but something that I didn't realize are the Amazon events that these mentors take part in as well. These networking events and stuff. And, I'm in sales and I like some aspects of networking for sure, but there's some like I can just see myself at an Amazon conference just being like, what's going on? So that was one aspect where I'll have to dive deeper into it and see if that's something where I feel I need to be positioned at for my business. And maybe I'm sure it's a fun time and a good time. You learn a lot, but that was one thing that made me a little apprehensive to think about that I might take part in the future.
Yeah. Not everybody's a people person. Some people people think I am, but that's just my job to do it. But if I had to choose, like I would just stay in my room all day long. I don't want to be around a whole bunch of people. But yeah, you can actually learn a lot by going and networking at events. And I have people I met at my first ever Amazon networking event that are still in my network today, almost 10 years later. Wow. Any comments about your mentors?
It was really great to see that some of them have already known each other. They already had that working relationship with each other. That was really cool to see that like they'd been brought together by this experience as well. It's cool to see the different experience, not levels, not that, but like the ranges of time that people have been involved with Amazon. That was really cool to see from like 6 years to like basically double digits. It was really interesting to see and just to learn of their expertise and what their brands typically sell and stuff was really nice to hear. And it's kind of like niching down is what I kind of learned from in one aspect.
Awesome. Now we this wasn't just a one episode thing, and we actually filmed about like 5 or 6 more episodes right after the first one where we actually broke apart with Leo and did some of the more in the weeds. That first episode, that link I gave you guys, h10.me/ss, that'll take you to the main episode. But then that's probably, I don't know how long it's gonna be, like maybe 30 minutes or 45-minute episode. You don't start an Amazon business in 30 or 45 minutes, even with a lot of Hollywood cuts. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. And so we filmed some like breakout episodes as well, where we go a little bit more into the weeds, and we're still going to film more. Like once the product is actually here, we're going to do another episode where we're going to, show the actual making of the listing. But we talked about, we planned out how she's going to do the photography for her images. We talked about, what it takes to set up TikTok. We talked a little bit about what kind of advertising strategy. Once the product's actually here, we're going to have more episodes where we are going to go in and show the step-by-step. And so the point of this all, guys, is we're trying to show as much, and again, thanks to Natalie for being open, is we're going to try and show as much of Natalie's journey as possible, because even if you guys out there are not launching the exact same product, and I hope you guys don't, please don't become Natalie's competitors out here on this. But you're going to be able to follow this blueprint, because what we wanted to show is that we can take anybody out there who has never sold on Amazon, 2025, 2026, and still go from zero to hero, hopefully. And I'm sure we're going to have some obstacles. Who knows what's going to happen in the coming months as we launch this product, but we're going to show you the obstacle. We'll keep it real. If the product makes $1 million, we're going to show it. If the product, like all of a sudden 75, competitors come on and sales are very low, we're going to talk about that, because these are real things that can happen. But we're positive that if Natalie, sticks to it, and we're going to help her too, she's going to have success online. I was about to say on Amazon. No, online, because it's not just about Amazon. And so I hope everybody out there is looking forward to it. Now, do you have like a goal yourself of, hey, I want to get this much like in profit eventually each month for you to be able to quit your like day job?
Oh yeah. So it's not even just that. It's my husband and myself, because what's riding on this is that I'm laughing, but this is so serious. The future of having children. Like I'm 36. If we're gonna have babies, we need to do it soon. So how I view it, my ideal vision is both of us being able to live off of this the online income. And that means also going through Freedom Ticket on Helium 10 with my husband, and going through that, so he can understand that process and stuff of selling online. So for me, we're looking at about like 8,000 net.
Okay.
Yeah. A month.
So if you can, out of this online business, get $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 a month profit, take home, where you can, take to the bank. Obviously you got to, have some that eventually gets invested back into the company. Then then you guys would be able to quit day jobs and kind of do this e-commerce thing and raise a family. I love the goal, and that's the reason why people do this. People are not doing this out of charity, like, oh, we're trying to make Amazon's pockets richer. No, you want to sell online because you're trying to reach a certain goal that you have for yourself. Some people just want a side hustle. Some people want, hey, let me get a college fund or something for my kids in the future. Some people want a fund to be able to take a few vacations a year. Some people want to replace their day job.
Yes.
It's all of the above. There's no right or wrong reason for selling online, but it's important. I like that you have a number in mind, and it's not $60,000 a month.
It's like 20
this series is going to take us a little bit longer. Okay,
20 to 30 in sales,
in sales, to be able to get that profit. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's good. And so for everybody else out there who hasn't started yet, think about that. What is your goal? Why are you trying to get in e-commerce? What are you trying to get out of it? Have that goal in mind, because it's going to make things, the journey, a lot kind of like, more clear of what you're going to have to do. So Natalie, again, thank you very much for being willing to come on the show. Everybody right now, by the time you're watching this episode, all of her episodes, or the main episode, should be on h10.me/ss. And then somewhere in the description there, you're going to be able to go to see the breakout episodes. All right. And for any like Helium 10 member, you'll be able to see those too, but those are going to like live on our website. So if you can't find, if you're a Helium 10 member and you don't know where some of these breakout episodes are, just reach out to customer support, and they'll be able to direct you guys, or look in the description of that first YouTube video on the Helium 10 YouTube channel. And I'm sure the link will be in there to be able to watch all, I think it's probably like 6 or 7 episodes total that we did with Natalie. But again, this is not the last you're going to hear from Natalie. We're going to be recording later on this year. Next year, we're going to follow up and see how the products that she's launched has done. And we're going to follow her. You know, like you guys are still seeing episodes that we do about our coffin shelf that we did like way back in 2019. And so that's how it's going to be. But Natalie, thank you again for coming on here. And we look forward to following your journey.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bradley.
See you guys later.